Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Youthman. Over the past several months, I've been working with GIK to add and upgrade my acoustic treatment in my room. I've produced several videos on the wall panels that we've installed. These are 4-inch panels, 2 foot by 4 foot. I've got 2 on this side, 4 on this side, and then we also added 4 2 foot by 2 foot panels on the rear wall. And that's going to take care of a lot of the high reflections, but it doesn't deaden the room because the front of the panels have some absorption as well as some reflective surfaces. And so it just kind of gives a good mix here in my room. The next stage that I wanted to work on is behind my screen. In a moment, I'll lift up my 150-inch screen and just kind of show you what I've got going on inside the cabinet here. So all of my speakers and subwoofers are right behind here, my LCR, my left, center, and right. And one day I was climbing in there, I was doing some work, and I noticed this massive echo. And I mean like crazy, crazy massive echo. Because think about it, I've got a front wall that's drywall. I've got 2 side walls and a ceiling, plus speakers that just have all hard surfaces. And so I knew that that probably isn't good for the acoustics in my room. Sound comes out of these speakers, hits the back wall, and most of that now is being absorbed because of the 4 GIK panels, but I'm sure there's still some sound that gets reflected off the back wall back into this front screen, and then once it's in there, it's probably not good for, again, just acoustically out here. And so again, that was just part of my desire to begin to tame some of that, and I'll end up adding even more panels in here. But let me go ahead and open up the screen here. I've just got a latch, and my 150-inch screen is just supported by gas shock. So let me get some additional lighting in here, and we'll take a look at what we've got to work with. So looking behind my screen, I've got 3 JTR Noesis 212 HTRs. This is for my left, my center, and my right speaker. And then in between those, I have dual JTR Captivator RS2 subwoofers. And if we look directly behind the speakers and subwoofers, you can see yesterday a friend of mine and I installed 4 GIK bass trap panels. Now each one of these bass traps are about 7 inches deep, and they measure roughly 24 inches wide, so 2 feet wide by about 4 feet tall. So as you can see, this front wall prior to doing that was just completely bare, a lot of hard surface right behind the speakers, and then even over on this side wall here, the opposing wall, as well as the ceiling inside this cabinet, there's just no acoustic treatment back there. And so by adding the 4 acoustic panels directly behind the speakers, now I have some acoustic treatment inside my cabinet. Now you can see over on this sidewall right here, I'm going to install this panel up a little bit higher so they just match cosmetically with the rest of them. And then I'll put another one adjacent to that. And then I'll likely mount a couple on the ceiling, as well as 2 more panels on this top part of the wall right here above the GIK bass traps. Now if you take a look at the back side of each one of the panels, GIK has included 4 eye hooks as well as some wire that you can easily attach to them to either hang horizontal or vertically. I, however, chose not to use that to secure them to my walls. Over the years, I've just always liked a French cleat approach, so I've attached each one of these little metallic French cleats to the back of each one of the panels, and then using the included drywall screws, secure the other part of that cleat to the wall, and we used a laser level to make sure that each of the panels were pretty much perfectly horizontal. Now one of the main reasons why I chose that over the wire is there's always the potential with the wire for the bass traps to get kind of crooked, and I'm just kind of OCD when it comes to little things like that, so I want to make sure that they stay level at all times. Now I did take some before and after measurements using REW from my primary listening position measuring the center channel. So let's go ahead and head over to the computer to see if we see any changes. Okay, so here we are inside of REW. Over on the left you can see I took 3 measurements. So we've got 1 measurement which is CTR, that's measuring the center channel. GIK is set to N, which is no, so I did not have acoustic panels. And then we also have Odyssey on. So initially turned on. Then I took a second measurement, and basically all I did there was turn Odyssey off, take another measurement, and then a third measurement would be with Odyssey turned off, but we added the GIK panels. So let's go ahead and walk through those. So I'll just turn them on one at a time. So down here we've got the center channel, GIK, no GIK panels installed with Odyssey turned on. And then turning Odyssey off, you can kind of see, yeah, it jacks up my lower frequency response quite a bit. So Odyssey definitely did some improvement cleaning up my, you know what, we're going to change this to red. This will make it easier for you guys to see. Cool, that's a little bit easier. So now we've got Odyssey on, the green is Odyssey off with no panels. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off Odyssey because really when you're measuring acoustic panels, you know, I'm not an expert at doing that, but when you're measuring acoustic panels, really my thought is, what are the acoustic panels doing in the room just by themselves? So that's really what I wanted to measure. And so we've got this turned off. So now if once I installed the GIK, that'll be the purple. So we're going to turn that on so you can see how it compared. So here, you can see right here where the purple is, it cleaned this up quite a bit. I had a really kind of a pretty deep null right here at about 60 Hertz. And by adding the bass traps, we kind of, it didn't like fix that, make it perfectly flat, but it definitely seemed to improve there. We've also got another kind of shot down right here, and you can see that was cleaned up quite a bit right here. So it seems like in that about 50 Hertz to maybe 100 Hertz, we see some differences there. And then above 100 Hertz, for the most part, this is pretty consistent, except for right in here. This is about, what, 400 Hertz to maybe 500 Hertz. You can see it kind of cleaned it up right here as well. Doesn't dip down near as far right here. So overall, from what I'm seeing based on these measurements, these four bass traps have affected around the 400 to 500 range, but then they've also impacted basically about 50 Hertz, maybe up to 100 Hertz. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at two other types of measurements, the waterfall. Now guys, I'll be honest with you, this is not my area of expertise, so I'm just going to show you and you can kind of figure out what you're seeing here. But if I click on this second option, so this is the center channel, no GIK panels installed with Odyssey turned off, and then I'll click on the purple one down here, and that will be with the GIK panels installed. So this is with them installed. We'll go back to with them not being installed, and I'll go once again back to the purple, which is with the GIK panels installed. So in a nutshell, I kind of understand what this is referring to. So on the left is how loud it is. Okay, this is in decibels. Then down here, we measured from 20 Hertz all the way over to 20,000 Hertz. So that's going left to right. And then we've added this third dimension, which is the I guess like the how long the decay, how long that sound is in the room until it kind of fades off. So for example, let's just say I don't know, like right here, this would be 200 Hertz. So at 200 Hertz, it's 90 decibels. You can see the 90 right there. And then it is, if you follow this line kind of down here again, I'm not real good at this, but at 200 Hertz, right here, this would be this line right here, and you follow it up. So that was about a little bit over, well, I guess close to 240 milliseconds that it lasted in the room. So I think ideally what you're wanting to do with acoustic treatments is you don't want this waterfall extending way, way, way out. You want it to kind of naturally roll off kind of quickly so that it doesn't continue to bounce around in your room. Down here, this lower frequency, more than likely, this is my air vent. Unfortunately, I don't have a way of turning off the air vent entirely, and so you can kind of see this low rumble that I always have here in my room. And again, I think that's pretty much the microphone. And but anyway, so you can see that. And then spectrogram, again, this is kind of above me, beyond me, but I'll show you those two. So this is without the GIK panels installed. I'll turn on the GIK panels. Once again, we'll turn them off. So this is without the GIK panels installed. And we'll turn it back once more. So this is with the GIK panels installed. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I've got one more set of GIK panels that I'll be installing. GIK sent me 8 2-foot by 2-foot panels that I'll be installing on the ceiling, because once again, we've got hard surface up there that we want to try to tame some of those reflections. So I'll give a big thanks to GIK for sponsoring this series of videos. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you're looking at acoustic panels or bass traps for your room, definitely head over to GIK Acoustics website. I'll have a link to them down in the description below. Well, if you missed any of the videos in this GIK series, I'll post a link to that playlist right here. And as always, you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you in the next video.